Born on October 16, 1962 in Melbourne, Australia, Balzary and his family relocated to Los Angeles while he was still a youngster. Unlike other teenagers, Balzary's first musical love was jazz, as he concentrated on mastering the trumpet while attending Fairfax High School. It was around this time that he met two other Fairfax students who would eventually change his life: guitarist Hillel Slovak and poet Anthony Kiedis. The trio soon became inseparable, as Slovak taught Balzary how to play bass and eventually turned him on to the wonders of rock music via Jimi Hendrix and punk rock. Here are some interesting facts about Flea. There was a rumor that Flea was partially Aboriginal. Flea may have lived most of his life in the US, but he is originally from Australia, and his family moved to New York when he was a young child. While living in Rye, a suburb of New York City, Flea and his sister Karen already felt like outsiders with their thick Australian accents, so they decided to have some fun with their fellow classmates. In his book Fornication, The Red Hot Chili Peppers Story, Jeff Apter interviewed Flea's dad, who claimed that his children made up nonsense words and pretended to talk to each other in an Aboriginal language. From that joke, the rumor spread that Flea had a bit of Aboriginal blood. There was absolutely no truth to it, but the rumor persisted even after he became an adult, so much so that some people believed the Red Hot Chili Peppers song Walkabout was an allusion to Flea's Aboriginal roots. Hillel Slovak introduced him to rock and roll. The unique atmosphere at home meant that Flea was fully immersed in jazz music, and he had so much respect for the genre that he cared much less about all the others. His disdain for punk music was so great, in fact, that he hated the first punk performance he ever saw. As an aspiring jazz musician, Flea's favorite instrument was the trumpet, which he began to play when he was 9 years old. However, Flea's perspective on music changed dramatically after he met the future guitarist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Hillel Slovak. When they were 18, Flea, Slovak and Anthony Kiedis all lived together in Hollywood, where Slovak would open his best friend's eyes to music they were unaware of or had previously dismissed. Flea talked about the impact Slovak had made and said, "Hillel was a huge influence on my life. I never would have begun to play the bass without his influence. I looked up to him. I loved the way his hair fell on his shoulders and the way he slung his red messenger guitar around like a rock stud." The iconic nickname stuck early on. Like all superstars with unique stage names, Flea was not always called that. He was once just Michael Peter Balzary. That began to change when Balzary, Anthony Kiedis and their good friend Keith Barry were teens and about to go on a ski trip. The group decided to call each other by nicknames, so Balzary became Flea. Later Barry began to realize that the name was perfect for his friend because it was a reflection of his animated and mercurial character. Even Flea agreed it fit. But he was not truly Flea until he tried out for the punk band called Fear. Hillel Slovak's influence had changed Flea's taste in music so much that he began to have deep respect for the rock genre. Being a part of the LA-based band was an incredible opportunity. Flea is highly spiritual. Flea is a great example of someone with so much faith that he prays before every meal, but at the same time, he does not need direction from an organized hierarchy of officials. In an interview with German website Stern, Flea explained, "There is a spiritual path in my life. This is an important part of who I am. I'm not religious at all, but I believe in divine power, to something like a divine intelligence. I think there is something greater than my mortal body." He went on to describe his fascinating thoughts on how divine energy could channel through him to bring happiness to those he encounters in the world. Flea may not support organized religion, but it is apparent that he has a deep deference and devotion to a higher power, as he frequently used the words God and gratitude when talking with Jeff Apter for Fornication. The bassist also reaffirmed his strong belief by saying, "God, of course, is the most important part in everybody."